This week's Who Would Win of the Week is John Mulaney versus Jerry Seinfeld. This is a pound for pound. What a great matchup. This is, I think, toe to toe, one of the best matchups that we've done. I just started rewatching all of Seinfeld again while it's still on Netflix. I don't know when they're taking it off, but I gotta watch it as much as I can before they do. And I think that John Mulaney, heavily influenced by Jerry Seinfeld. Jerry Seinfeld, the guy, he's a little on the spectrum. There's not a lot that I think would drive him to physical violence. Like, I think, and I can see John Mulaney getting there pretty easily after a while. Are you looking up, like, how tall they are? I think John Mulaney's definitely taller. I don't know how tall Jerry Seinfeld is. He might be a short guy.
I think he's big.
Jerry Seinfeld?
Yeah.
How big? You know what? That wouldn't surprise me too much.
They're about the same height. John Mulaney's 6 foot. Jerry Seinfeld's 5'11".
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So neither of them are big.
No.
Midgets. Oh, can't say that anymore, can you?
I don't know. There's that one Mulaney joke that's like all about that.
Yeah.
But John Mulaney, I do think, like, you could get him to a point where he'd get flustered enough where he would lash out. And I think that in those moments, Jerry Seinfeld is kind of the guy who's, like, sidestepping, looking over you like, huh, what are you doing?
See, here's my thing that I'll say. I agree with you about Mulaney, but I think Seinfeld can get there too. Here's my thing. With Jerry Seinfeld, you really only see him in like two situations in that show. He's either surrounded by the people that he's surrounded with all the time, right? Elaine, George, Kramer, and then the extra people. But like it's always the same people in a sense that he's with when they're doing something that would drive other people to madness. So I think he has a level of, he's accustomed to that. So that doesn't necessarily count. On the flip side of it, a lot of times when you see him around strangers and they're doing something that, might drive somebody else to madness, his response for the most part is the you response, right? Like
who are these people?
To be a secret asshole to these people, and they don't realize that he's being an asshole to them, right?
Yeah.
Which plays for a while, but eventually that's what gets him out of that situation. So now you put them in a ring. One, John Mulaney's smart enough to know when Jerry Seinfeld's being an asshole, and he's going to call him on his bullshit. Mm-hmm. Two, him, like, and I guess goes hand in hand. He's never going to be an asshole enough to John Mulaney to like get him out of like this fight. You know what I mean? Because John Mulaney knows what he's doing. Mm-hmm. So I don't think he's going to have a choice but to turn to violence, in which case I think he might have a lot of crazy in him. Like, he is a very, like,
sure,
kind of crazy guy. He just does it a lot of times in a calm demeanor. Jerry also is the one person on that show that seems that even when things go wrong, somehow it always ends up going his way.
Right.
And that's kind of the contrast between him and all the other characters. And that's why he sees it as a, he can always look at it from a comedic standpoint, whereas the other people are the ones usually
they're
going
in
through
it.
it.
He's just watching it from the outside. Yeah. And I would say Mulaney has definitely worse luck. Like, things definitely aren't going this way. Like, he's a lot of like, I'm in this situation now. And here we are.
I just think that Jerry Seinfeld has a little bit more, and grit is not the right word.
Okay, yeah.
But he has a little bit more to him because he was as famous as he was, and I'm sure he had to fight his own battles at times.
Sure.
Whereas John Mulaney, I feel like, openly admits, like, I feel like he tells a joke where he's like, yeah, I am like a gay man that they forgot to make gay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like he's very non-confrontational
big time
about
big time.
certain things.
About
in the way,
everything, I
in
guess.
the way that he's like, talks when he tells stories about himself. Obviously, I don't know him,
Yeah.
but like he seems to shy away from a lot of things.
Here's the other thing about John Mulaney that needs to be taken into account, though. Big time drug addict.
Yeah, he's got some dog in him. Didn't he cheat on his wife and shit?
No, he didn't cheat on his wife.
He beat his wife?
No, he didn't beat his wife. Jesus Christ.
I thought he did something like not good though. It was just
no,
the drugs?
they just got divorced. Yeah.
Oh, because
I
of the
guess
drugs.
I think she had a drug issue as well, and then yeah, he got back on drugs during COVID, and that led to he had to go to rehab and everything and stuff.
I knew he did something.
I
knew he was in the news.
Yeah. But you're right. He does have a little bit of that dog in him, and especially this last time that he was addicted to drugs, being as famous as he is and getting away with it for as long as he did. I mean, you got to be on some kind of shit to keep that on the down low as much as he was able to.
Yeah.
For a while. I think he's again mentions some other joke, like things about like getting into moving cars to buy cocaine. He freebased cocaine the night before his college graduation, stuff like that.
I don't know what that means.
It's when you smoke cocaine out of like an aluminum foil pipe. Yeah, you know who freebased cocaine? Tony Curtis from Some Like It Hot with his daughter, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
I know who that is.
Yeah. And you know who Tony Curtis is, too? He's the guy, that's why Daddy named the oil company in Some Like It Hot.
Which one's Some Like It Hot?
The one where they dress up like ladies. The old black and white movie. Marilyn Monroe's in it. Yeah.
Marilyn Monroe.
Yes,
that's that. Want to know what movie I was trying to connect it to? That from the 80s, all those comedians they're at like a summer camp. They came out with a Netflix show about it.
Comedians.
You
at a
loved
summer
it.
camp.
It wasn't comedians, but I think a lot of them ended up being on like SNL. It was a movie, Andy.
Heavyweights?
No, like they were adults. Maybe it was the 90s.
Oh, Wet Hot American Summer?
Yes.
Yes, that was the 90s, and that movie is spectacular. Amy Poehler and Paul Rudd are in that movie. Amy Poehler's the only one. And Miles Teller's in that movie, who head writer for Jimmy Fallon.
Miles Teller, head writer for Jimmy Fallon?
No. What did I say? His name is A.D. Miles. That's what his name is.
I know
My
who
bad.
A.D.
I didn't
Miles is,
say.
yeah.
Yeah,
I was thinking, I'm like, really?
I think
this guy's done it all.
I said Miles Teller.
You did say
yeah.
Miles Teller.
I didn't mean to, but I saw Top Gun recently, and I
Did
want
you?
to see it
I
again.
still haven't seen
it's
it.
so good. It's incredible.
Why don't I want to do? I want to go to the drive-in. Back to the Who Would Win the Week.
Back to the Who Would Win. I do think, though, that once Jerry Seinfeld got going, once the motor started to rev, I think he beat the shit out of Mulaney. Mulaney's just like the guy.
Think so too.
He's just got that wiry frame.
Yeah, I think he's just. I don't think.
It's like hitting
I don't
a dog
think he
with
could
a
take a
newspaper.
punch.
Yeah.
And I don't think he can throw a punch.
Kid's
very well.
got a glass
Well,
jaw.
unless he's on drugs at the time.
Unless he's on drugs at the time. But
is this sober or is he on drugs? Because if he's on drugs, it's a
if
different
he's on
fight.
drugs, then
You probably
that's
take Mulaney.
true. If he's on drugs, yeah, you probably take Mulaney.
But then we'd
I
have
would
this
s-
would
well,
have
you
we'd,
never
it'd have
know.
to be
You never know,
This
even
would have
then.
to be Mulaney on drugs versus Jerry Seinfeld, but it's just Mulaney versus Seinfeld, so
Right,
he's not on
right.
drugs. Mulaney not on drugs. I'm taking Jerry Seinfeld.
I'm
I
taking
agree.
Jerry Seinfeld too.
Yeah.
Can't go against him.
I do think it would be a very funny fight to watch.
It
though.
would be funny. It'd be so weird
Yeah,
because I think
it
they
be
would
very
both,
uncomfortable.
Yeah. I think you're right, but
Yeah.
we'll lock that in.
You think you're tougher than me? That's what Jerry Seinfeld would say.
Why? Oh my God! You know who Martin Short is?
Yes,
He's got the best Jerry Seinfeld.
he does a good Jerry
impression.
Seinfeld.
They only show it as like a cutaway thing in his Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee episode. But Martin Short, they're like crossing a street, and Martin Short's just like strolling, goes, "Why are streets so wide?" Like he does it like so. Why?
Let's lock that in. That's a 2-0
Oh,
sweep
it's
for
locked.
Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Vote on that on Instagram.